Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to my garage. Just want to give a little update here on this Powerstroke swap that we did. It's been, I don't know, probably about 2 weeks now since we got it installed and actually took it on its first little test drive. So kind of a little mini update here. Haven't had any issues with it at all. After driving it for about 3 days and putting like 100 miles on it, a lot of little quirky things that it had with not running as well as I wanted it to kind of worked itself out. I think part of it was just had some air still in the high pressure oil system, and I think the ECM kind of had to relearn some of the changes. You know, we did quite a bit of modifications to it, and you can't really expect the ECM to just kind of jump right on board without needing to learn. So this episode here, now that we got this truck running good, I want to start making it look good. You know, it's kind of a bummer to have this, you know, fairly well built, awesome looking engine in this truck and having a stock bodied looking truck. So I got a couple things that I'm working on. I actually want to get rid of these emblems. Now I know that behind here Ford actually dimpled the fender and they put an alignment mark, but look at all the junk that over time is built up behind there. So I'm going to pull these emblems off, see if I can clean that fender up a little bit, and then I got some new emblems that I'm pretty excited about. I'll show you when we go to put them on, but I think it's going to look pretty good. So let's get to it. All right, so if you've never had to pull these headlights out, they're a little bit different. They're kind of a pain. Ford put these clips to hold the headlight in. There's 3 of them. There's one here, there's another one back here. I don't even really know if I can get it on the camera. There we go, right there. And then they have a third one that is back in here. There we go, right there. You can see it, that guy. So really what they are is they're behind all 3 of the adjusters. So we need to pop those out on both headlights. This is actually a whole bunch easier to do if you pull the header panel out, but I don't want to do that because I'm lazy and I think I can pop these out here a little bit quicker. So I just wanted to pause and show you guys that. I'll get these out, and then I'll kind of show you how you have to modify these new headlights to get everything back together. Alright, so I'm just going to pull the header panel, that clip back in the corner. I don't have the pick long enough to really get in there. I'm going to spend more time fighting it than just pulling it out. So it's just a couple of 8mm. I'll pull it out and then just do it on the bench. Alright guys, so here's a little show and tell here on how to do these clips. So the way that they work is you have these little fingers that are supposed to go and lock into these grooves. And then once they do that, the clip can no longer slide out. So what you got to do is get like a little screwdriver or pick and just kind of push these back, push back the fingers to clear that groove, and then kind of just wedge, you know, screwdriver or something in between here, and just pry them up and kind of just block them out. So like I said, they're not terribly hard to do, but when it's in the truck, trying to get to the bottom clip was just being a little bit difficult. So again, same thing. We're just going to push the finger back, lift that clip up, and out it comes. Now I am going to have to save and reuse these because the new headlights don't come with them. Then when you get the 3 clips out, you can literally just pick this header panel up and the headlight will fall out. So that's all there is to getting the headlights out. So I'm going to do the other one, and then we'll go through the process of installing the new headlights. So these are the new headlights. The ones I chose to go with were the ANZO black housing projection headlights. I've seen some good reviews about them. I'm hoping they work as well as what I'm expecting. I'm not really sure that they would ever be as bad as what the factory headlights were. Those were really clouded up, pretty hazed over. They didn't put out much light at all. So these are actually going to take place of that whole chrome bezel and headlight and everything, and they attach very much the same way. So to get the factory ones out, you have on the back side of the park lamp, there's a stud here, and then you have this other stud here, and they basically just go through these two holes. So this new headlight, it actually has the same mounting provision. So you have the same stud here and here, and then you have the same three little mounting tabs to put it through. So actually this one only has two, so that'll be even easier. So essentially just going to install this onto the headlight, then put the header panel back in the truck, and make it pretty easy. So we'll put the LED bulb back in there. This one's going to go into this position, and then we have these two here that are going to go into these two plugs. So really straightforward. Alright, so now before I go too much further, I want to turn my lights on to make sure that I have my turn signal and my park light wired into the correct plug. So we'll check that out here. Okay, and now I'm going to just hit the hazard so that way I can get my turn signal to flash. All right, that looks like we got it hooked up right. So then once you get these plugged in, all you got to do to keep them kind of waterproofed is you just put this socket back into the back of the housing, just like you would with the factory. Missing the gasket on that one. Aha. So here's something to keep an eye out for. Sometimes your gasket will get stuck in the back of your factory light, and you can just very gently peel them off, and then you can actually plug them back right over the socket. So I had to take a little bit of an intermission there, but got everything done. Last little bit of daylight here doing what I had to do, but you know, it's family stuff. You got to get it handled. So got one headlight in. So really pretty simple. Like I say, it's just the two 7/16 nuts on the back, two clips that you can get up to here from the top, and then you just got to make sure everything's plugged in. And they actually fit in here pretty solid. I'm happy with the way that the body line here lines up. It's actually a very factory fit. I like that. So I mean, I think we're already looking way better than what we were. So let's get this other side in. All right, so this right here is just in the park light position. So I think what I'm eventually going to do is wire it to where two of the fog lights turn on in the park position, and then have it wired on a rocker switch to where I can run just the fog lights with the headlights off, or if I want to have just two of the fog lights with the park lights. And then I think I'm going to wire it to where when the headlights are on, with the switch on or off, I can have all four of the headlights on or off. That way, you know, if I'm driving at night, especially coming out to where I live, I'm kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's nice to have a lot of light, but not necessarily be that guy cruising down the freeway blinding everybody. So next we'll turn on the low beams. So I kind of like how with the low beams on, you still have the angel eye, and you still have all the same lights that the marker light was. So now I'll go and I'll hit the high beam, and it should turn on these smaller lights to the inside. Yeah, and I can tell just by looking at where they're shining on my wall, they're super high. But the light output is actually really pretty good. So the other thing that I want to try and do on this, probably at the same time I do the fog lights, I'm going to wire it to where when the high beams turn on, it keeps the low beams on. So I'll do a little video on that, because I think it'd be kind of a cool thing to do. If you pull back on the headlight switch, it'll turn them both on, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the amount of light output with the high beam and low beam on is just insane. So that's kind of what I want to do. There's really no need to switch back and forth between the two. So you know, if you get the most light available, why not? So now we'll do the turn signals. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, having the white LED in there, super bright, and I don't get the hyper flash out of it. We'll try the other side. Perfect, just like I'd like to see it. So next we'll get the Grille on. The new Grille comes without the Ford emblem. So I think what I'm going to do is take this one off and try and see if I can do a little polish to it and get it to shine up a little bit better. But it's just held on the back with two little like stamped steel body nuts. So should be real easy to do. All right, so I'm going to start by taking this Ford emblem out. Like I say, it's going to be easy. All right, satellite, I said 7/16, it's actually 10 millimeter. Yeah, so like I said, they're just little like stamped steel body nuts. So we should be able to take those out and have this emblem pop off. Yep, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to just spend just a couple minutes with some wax and polish and get this cleaned up. So here's an interesting little tidbit of knowledge for you. So this right here is the emblem off of the 94. And I started polishing it, and then I noticed inside of here, if it'll focus, maybe, the blue has started separating from the chrome. It's fairly common in these older emblems. So I thought, well, maybe the one on the donor truck would be any better. So I took it, I polished it off, and I got to looking at the two. So this right here, man, I don't even know if this is going to come in focus. Well, anyway, it has a E9 parts prefix, which means it came off of an 89, or they started using that part in 1989. So this emblem here off of the donor truck looks pretty much identical. The blue is in a lot better shape. And this one here, as I throw it on the ground, has a parts prefix of F8, meaning it's a 98. So 98 is when they started using that emblem. And if you look at the two, the color difference between the two, the newer 98 one is quite a bit darker than the earlier one is. So being that I'm trying to black out the front of the truck, I think I'm going to go with the darker blue Ford emblem. I think that's going to look a little bit better. So just a little bit of information. I never realized that before, that they change the color of the Ford blue. So we'll get this installed onto this new Grille. The grill install on this is going to go just as easy it was coming off. It's just the same 5 Phillips head screws. So